I apologize again, I'm not using my talking sprites, but I wanted to try something a little bit different, especially given the fact that my tracking on my model is significantly more improved, I think, just because I'm using my iPhone for tracking now, but that's besides the point. So the topic of this video has been on my mind for quite some time now. I'd honestly say it's been in the back of my mind since probably around the time I first started getting into Final Fantasy VII. And I say that because it's no brainer that Barret Wallace from Final Fantasy VII is a very underrated and underappreciated character. And the reason I can say that with confidence is because you'll see a lot of the time, right, that whenever there's like special skins or like any kind of event, they're always just tied to the quote-unquote main characters. Like, it's always just about Cloud, Aerith, Sephiroth, Tifa, Zack for some reason. And even Reno, like, that guy gets more recognition than Barret, and it makes, like, genuinely no sense to me. And it's really frustrating because, again, I genuinely don't, I don't understand why people just, they act like he's not a character, like he's not a main character, you feel me? Obviously, I'm not gonna say that he's like, oh, the story's about him. No, obviously not, you know? But I think there is enough to, you know, digest in terms of his story and his lore, and it makes him such a compelling character. Because obviously, you know, if you're a Final Fantasy VII fan, you pretty much know all there is to know about Barret. You know, he's the leader of Avalanche, an eco-terrorist group. They're fighting against the mega corporation that is Shinra to protect the planet from its destructive use of Mako energy. Pretty simple stuff, right? Pretty fucking cool, might I add. But yeah, obviously in the game, to a lot of outsiders, he comes across as like this really hot-tempered, scary guy who's like so desperate to take matters into his own hands that he doesn't give a shit about what happens in the world. But the thing is, he does these things. He leads this group to do these things for the sake of the planet. Obviously, one could argue that maybe they're too drastic or whatever, but that's a whole other discussion for another time. You can't deny that he is a very strong-willed and passionate man. Like, bro is ready to fight for whatever he believes in at no cost. He does not care. And it's even more apparent as well because one of the main reasons, right, that he wants to protect the planet is so that, you know, he can, obviously again, to save the planet, but he wants a better future for his daughter Marlene. And obviously, you know, getting more into his backstory and whatnot, we know, like those of us who've played the games, we know that that's not even his biological daughter, but rather his adoptive daughter, which only just makes him so much more cooler as a character. Because obviously there a lot of times when people talk about Barret, certain fans will be like, no, like we don't like Barret because he comes across as really two-dimensional. He's like a stereotypical angry black guy, which obviously I'm not here to invalidate how people feel about that. I don't personally see him that way. I personally think that, well, there are certain things about him that kind of maybe tie into that stereotype. I think if you just play the game and understand him as a character, you'd see that he's so much more than that. Because again, his main motivation for stepping up and fighting against Shinra is his daughter. He's determined to save the planet for the future generations, including his daughter. And we see in his backstory that he was the reason why his hometown, Corel, was subdued by Shinra, because he got tricked. He basically thought, yeah, Shinra's so good, guys. They're gonna help us out. Turns out they weren't. They didn't give a shit. And as a result, there were so many casualties, so many people died. He even lost his best friend. And then obviously in Remake, they changed that a bit. But regardless, the case remains, right? And he fucked over his hometown, right? Like, he's not even denying it, which is like the even crazier part, right? You would think somebody who, as like maybe abrasive or like headstrong as he might seem, would get pissed off and be like, man, fuck these guys. I hate all these people. He just takes it like a man. He's like, you know what? You're right. I fucked up. I can't even, like, I'm not even gonna do anything because they're right. They're right to be upset at me. They're right to wanna, you know, kick me out of here. But even with that, he just doesn't give up. If anything, again, like I said, he wants to save the planet for future generations, for his daughter, for just the planet, because he loves the planet that he lives on, and he knows that even with everything that's happened to it, it's still going strong. But even then, that's not enough. I'm talking about them in the games, but even, like, this applies today. We need to fight for this planet. They need to fight for this planet, and I think that's why I feel so tied to him as a character. As someone who also has an adoptive parent, it is so genuinely heartwarming to see a character that unconditionally loves their adoptive child. It's like the whole joke, like, he's the dad who stepped up, but this guy, he is the dad who stepped up. Like, he lost his best friend, and instead of, you know, running away from his problems, he faced them head on. But yeah, it's, again, like, it's just super... And you know, obviously I'm talking about all this, like, incredibly, like, these amazing character traits that he has, and yet time and time again I see that even super fans, right, instead of talking about one of, like, arguably the best characters, I'd even go as far to say is that I think Barret is a better character than Tifa. Maybe controversial, but I don't give a shit. I genuinely believe he is a much more compelling and just interesting character than Tifa. And that's not to say that I hate Tifa, because in before those fucking rabid fans come saying that, oh, it's because you're misogynist and you hate Tifa. No, I just think that, you know, from, again, and this is my opinion, you don't have to agree, but I just feel like Barret is so underappreciated. He's so underrated. He always gets overlooked by everybody, and especially, and again, I'm partially guilty of it, right? But I'm making this video now because I'm tired of people, you know, sleeping on him. I'm tired of people acting like he's not a main fucking character of the game. Because again, even like originally when the devs were creating the game, Barret was included as one of the main characters. It was gonna be Cloud, Aerith, and Barret. And you know what's so fucking insane about that makes me so mad? Is the very fact that the devs were considering scrapping out Barret's backstory entirely in Rebirth. And I'm being so fucking serious right now. Had they done that, you would not catch me playing that game. I'm being so serious. We like people of color, right? Especially black people. They already get so little representation, right? Because people will always harp about how, like, stop race washing these characters, why are they making all these characters black, just make up your own things. And it's like, okay, here's this new original character who happens to be black, and all of a sudden it's like, this fucking sucks, this is shit, this is a stereotype. Like, you're speaking over them, you're speaking over their voices. And again, like, a lot of the time, like, people will like it. And again, I also don't want to speak on behalf of, you know, other people who may have a different opinion than me about Barret. But I really like Barret. I really do. And to hear that, like, again, one of the characters that was like originally conceived with, or like created for this game, along two other characters, like, he was part of the first three characters, mind you. And they were gonna fucking scrap him out? How does that make any sense? Like, genuinely, like, what was their thought process here? I failed to understand, like, you know, like, where they were, like, what made them think that would be a good idea. It's so apparent that realistically the reason why they do so little with him, or like they show so little appreciation for him as a character, is just because he's black. And it sucks, and it sucks that I have to say that, it really does, but it's just like, that's just what it is. And then I wish it really wasn't the case. I genuinely wish that wasn't the case. I wish we lived in a perfect society where it didn't fucking matter what color the skin of our characters is, or just even in real life, you know? We have Ever Crisis, right? We have like the Final Fantasy VII mobile game, right? Do you want to guess how many skins they have for Barret? Practically nothing. But let's give these random ass characters all these other skins. Let's put all this attention on all these other characters. Like, I think it wasn't until recently, I think we just got like the 4th or 5th like skin for Barret. Again, like, it is again, oh my god, I got no words at this point. Like, I'm so genuinely pissed off. And also, right, his voice actor, right? John Eric Bentley, he plays him in Rebirth and Remake, right? Tell me why they did not even recognize him for his voice acting work. Like, I heard radio silence. I heard fucking nothing for the performance he gave. He did so fucking good. And spoilers if you haven't played the game, but during the scenes with dying and whatnot, I was bawling my eyes out, dude. Genuinely, I was crying, I was sobbing. You could just hear the pain. You could hear every emotion through this guy's voice acting. And then here's the other thing, right? Barret is so multi-layered. He's genuinely one of the funniest characters in the fucking game, right? Bro got like the best one-liners and jokes in general, right? And then even with that, right, you can see that even though maybe at first glance he can just be like this like loudmouth, like scary man, right? Hot-headed man. But it's like, no, he is so much more than that. Basically, I guess what I'm really trying to say with this video is I just wish people would see Barret for who he is and not just see him as, you know, oh, he's just the comic relief guy, he's just the funny guy. And it's just like yes, he's funny, but again, he's so much more than that. He delivers some of the most passionate speeches in the game, and again, unfortunately, they get overshadowed a lot of the time, and I really wish that just wasn't the case. And I know people don't want to hear it, but it is a Japanese company, so they're obviously not going to put that much attention on a black character. Like, I was gonna say person of color, but it's like, no, it's just if they have darker skin, they don't give a shit. And it's unfortunate that that's the case, you know. And again, it's obvious that I mean, given that they were going to, they can just easily push him to the side, and they do that, right? In Advent Children, he's barely he's barely in the movie, right? And to make it worse, even some of the very so-called hardcore Final Fantasy fans, they're always so quick to erase Barret's importance, and especially when it comes to Marlene, there's always those like rabid fans who are like, that Marlene is adopted and raised by Cloud and Tifa, and I'm like, literally, no, the fuck she isn't. She has a father already. Like, we already have such low representation, especially for people of color, especially for black people. For those of you who are black, like, you already get nothing, and people will do anything just to erase it, and it's so genuinely aggravating. Sorry, I'm realizing I'm getting a little too heated with this video. I can't, dude. I know it's too much to ask for, but if you're a big fan of Barret, please let me know. I need to know that there's more Barret fans out there. I need to know that not all Cloud Tifa shippers like to erase Barret's importance, because holy shit, do they really love doing that. And also, to leave this on a more lighthearted manner, Barret has just the most beautiful, gorgeous eyes ever. Like, I love this man so much. He is so gorgeous. He's so beautiful. Out of all the CGI models, he's the one that looks consistently the best. But yeah, if you like Barret, please let me know in the comments. And if you don't, I don't fucking care. Don't even bother commenting it. Or, you know, okay, if you're gonna be at least maybe respectful or tell me why. Like, if you feel so inclined to tell me, no, Gummy, I disagree, I don't like Barret, let's just be a little mindful with what we say and just be nice. And that honestly just goes for everybody. That's gonna be it for me. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.